Tai Lung! He's powerful, implacable, a pleasure to watch, and deeply tragic. Without a doubt, the greatest snow leopard to ever master the ancient art of Kung Fu. But what led him down the dark road of his destiny? What misery lurks beneath his mighty facade? And what the hell happened to him in the end anyway? Let's take a look. Viewer, welcome back to Villainous Ascent. Pretty rad new opening, huh? Pretty proud of it. Welcome back. Welcome back. And while I think of it, don't watch episode 1, please. It's the first video I ever made for this channel, and that shows. So, do me a favor and just don't. Onwards and upwards. Keep moving forward. Tai Lung. Tai Lung is the antagonist of the surprisingly excellent but horrendously named film Kung Fu Panda. Let's cut right to the chase here. Tai Lung is basically the best at everything, and his career of being the best at everything began the instant he was born, when he became the objectively most adorable baby in all of China. Gaze upon his cuteness and despair. Tai Lung was a doorstep baby, raised by the Kung Fu master Shifu from infancy to become the legendary Dragon Warrior, because his natural inclination to be frickin' amazing manifested early and was a clear sign of his candidacy. However, after years and years of Shifu telling him, oh, yeah, you'll totally get the Dragon Scroll, his master's master, Oogway, came out with a soft no, citing a darkness in Tai Lung's heart that he, and at the time, only he, could see. The directors of the film stated that they wanted their villain to make sense. They wanted someone who was, quote, emotionally justified in his own perspective. And that's great. Cackling sadists are all well and good, but a compelling, believable villain adds to any story. There was just one teensy, hilarious problem. They succeeded too well. In the original draft, Tai Lung has his destiny denied him. He demands it by force, and he's beaten up and sent to forever jail. Test audiences were, quote, freaked out and sympathized with him way, way too much. In order to remind you who the villain of the story is, the writers had to rework things a little bit. So, Tai Lung has his destiny denied him. He goes all the way down the mountain, lays waste to the valley, comes all the way back up the mountain, demands his destiny again, and is beaten up again, and is sent to forever jail again. And yet even that wasn't enough for some people, as evidenced from the fact that we are here today. The jail he's sent to is something else. 1,000 guards, multiple stories, giant crossbows, and explosives as a last resort, with Tai Lung himself kept in a contraption that keeps his entire body immobilized except for his tail, while 2 giant boulders are chained to his wrists. Oh, and he's also the only prisoner. It was built specifically for him and him alone. Naturally, he breaks out in what is hands down the greatest scene DreamWorks has ever made. Fucking fight me on this. Nothing will top these 4.5 minutes of animation. First, he picks the lock, using only his tail and a feather from the messenger Shifu sent to make sure he wouldn't escape. How's that for some predestination shit, huh? China. Then, he uses the crossbows to take care of the boulders. He's an efficient guy. And then, naturally, he beats the ever-loving crap out of every single guard. Rhinoceroses weren't even endangered before this happened. Ha 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 ha! Then it turns out he sounds like this.
I'm glad Shifu sent you. I was beginning to think I'd been forgotten. Fly back there and tell them the real Dragon Warrior is coming home.
And you thought he was gonna sound like some big, dumb brute, didn't ya? Unless you thought he was going to sound Chinese, in which case I don't know what to tell you. Evil people just the British accent is... It's Kung Fu Panda. Tai Lung makes a four-legged beeline right for the Jade Palace. The Furious Five, or as they are known in the original Chinese, why are there five of them if only one gets any real character development, attempt to stop him. It's a nice try. A real nice try. But ultimately, Tai Lung can take them down with ease. That move Oogway used to stop him. Yeah, not only does he know it now, but he somehow managed to make it better while in prison. This guy is basically Doomsday's persona. Like I said, the directors wanted their villain to be justified in his actions. And here we get to my hands-down favorite thing about the writing in this movie. The movie uses color theory, and the color gold stands for heroism. Tai Lung's eyes are gold because he sees himself as the hero. And if you look at things from his perspective, this is just your standard action movie. He's betrayed and cast down, but he's gonna turn things around with his two fists and his determination. First, he plows through a bunch of inconsequential soldiers, and then he takes down the quirky squad of characters who have been trained by his former master. Finally, he makes it to the climactic showdown with his traitorous stepfather, and then a panda walks in. Because actually, the movie is Kung Fu Panda, and no one told him.
You? Him? He's a panda. You're a panda. What are you gonna do, big guy? Sit on me?
Things sort of fall apart for Tai Lung here. You might think that years and years of training would beat Poe's one training montage worth of Kung Fu knowledge if you'd never seen an 80s movie in your life, but fuck you. This is Kung Fu Panda. Tai Lung discovers that he can't actually win easily. He takes it well.
The scroll has given him power!
Upon discovering that the Dragon Scroll is reflective, meaning that the secret to true power merely lies within oneself, Tai Lung's immediate response is to shriek,
It's nothing!
which is more than a little bit depressing. Then Tai Lung doesn't know when to quit, so Poe literally explodes him. Bye, Tai Lung. Tai Lung doesn't especially feature in the two films that follow because he fucking exploded. What do you expect? Now, to give credit where it's due, they do remember and acknowledge him, which is pretty cool. The closest he has to an actual appearance, though, if you can even call it that, is this. Kai, the antagonist of the third film, explicitly turns every kung fu master in the afterlife into jade zombies to work for him. Tai Lung, despite his impressive strengths, is never deployed, which I feel is a missed opportunity both in and out of universe, but as is pretty clear, I'm pretty biased, so what do I know? Mostly, Tai Lung's posthumous impact is felt in the franchise's official television show, Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness. It turns out that this little guy, Peng, is Tai Lung's nephew, which, I mean, shouldn't be all that surprising because they're the only two snow leopards that have ever been spotted around here. Eh? Spotted? Never mind. Peng is really good at Kung Fu, which is great. He's also innocently searching for his missing uncle, which is, less great.
Do you recognize this sword? It belonged to my uncle.
No it didn't. Upon discovering that Poe skadooshed his uncle, Peng takes it well. However, he comes around after seemingly meeting Tai Lung because his uncle doesn't quite live up to what he expected.
You betrayed your friends! You disgraced our family! You're a villain! A villain!
Unfortunately, it's not actually our boy, but Poe, who's making a point to Peng by using a magic, shape-shifting kung fu rock. Yes, can you tell me exactly where I can find the stone that can turn you into a powerful, muscular cat man? I feel like if I can patent this, I could make a lot of money selling it to the right demographic. The military. Something strikes me as a little off about this whole mini-arc. I have a theory. Maybe I'm just thinking way too hard about a franchise for children, but that's my entire channel, so here we go anyway. Peng never makes any mention of his family or his home at all. He's looking for Tai Lung, who he claims is his uncle, which is a familial relation, certainly, but not one that raises any issue of parental origin. Despite having no formal training, he's fantastic at Kung Fu, and in Tai Lung's unique style at that. He recognizes Po as the Dragon Warrior, and yet is oddly uninformed about the man he's searching for. This is a quiet part of the world, people. It should not be hard to find out about the guy who went nuts, laid waste to the valley, was sent to jail, laid waste to the valley again, and then exploded. Hell, Tai Lung himself had found out about Po long before making it to the Jade Palace.
I heard how he fell out of the sky on a ball of fire. That he's a warrior, unlike anything the world has ever seen.
And yet, all Peng seems to know for certain about Tai Lung is his name, which doesn't even make sense. Tai Lung was named as an infant by Shifu. How could any potential family know that much, and yet not anything else? A lot of Peng's arc is based around the fear, held by himself and others, that he takes after Tai Lung. But this seems more than a little bit harsh, because it seems like he might not have even met the guy. Hell, he goes from zero to, "Shifu betrayed me! How could he? I'll show him! I'll show everyone!" in less than a minute. That's not exactly something you can chalk up to genetics. I think Peng might be some kind of fragment. Kind of like a reincarnation. He never brings up his parents because he doesn't have any. He's Tai Lung's essence, in a fractured, weakened state, not remembering anything except a few foggy details. Manifesting as Peng, he creates a narrative about searching for his uncle in order to explain his subconscious obsession with his former self. Then he wanders the earth, rolling around like a loose cog in the machinery of the universe. This all might sound a little crazy, but need I remind you that the last time Tai Lung was seen, he was being exploded into golden light by an ancient kung fu technique? Crazier shit has happened, that's all I'm saying. And yeah, I did come up with an ontologically unsound fan theory after watching exactly one episode of a children's cartoon show. What about it? Video game lightning round. In the Legendary Warriors game, which is a direct sequel to the film, Tai Lung is the antagonist. They don't really explain how. Getting exploded just kinda made him angry more than anything, which sounds cool when I put it that way, but isn't actually. Then you kick him really hard in the face and he's gone again. Next, in Kung Fu Panda, the game, Tai Lung is given a single extraneous shoulder pad with little spikes on it. This is a joke in of itself. Next, apparently they recently came out with a Kung Fu Panda game that's like explicitly a Super Smash Bros. Ripoff, and Tai Lung's in it, but I don't care. Next. Oh, right, we're done. Nice concluding segment. Tai Lung is an absolute pleasure to watch, and a hilarious example of a villain accidentally being written too well. An excellent part of a film that has no right to be as good as it is based on its bone stupid name. And whether he's dead or in another dimension or a tiny amnesiac version of himself, one thing is certain. There's probably going to be at least one more episode of Villainous Ascent. Oh wait, that's not certain at all. Goodbye. You went and rewatched episode 1, didn't you? Joke's on you! It's still monetized. It's incredibly embarrassing, but I'll take the money. Yeah!